Right, hello everybody. This is Summoner. I am back and I am doing a bit more of the bottle art video. Just finishing up coating this bottle. And this is wet because I've kind of soaked it to make sure. Hello. I think we've got somebody watching. This is my channel, Summoner, if you don't know it already. And I am just carrying on coating this bottle. So basically where I was last time is I managed to coat around the edges here like that, but I hadn't quite finished yet. I did get interrupted by a phone call, unfortunately, so I kind of just wanted to get back into it and carry on with what I was doing. So this will basically eventually look like one of these. I just need to choose what I actually want to go on here. So I'm going to carry on and I'm going to get one of these napkins and rip it up and coat the carry on coating the outside of the bottle with it. So here we go. You can see I've got quite a big bit of the napkin there, and I'm just smoothing it over, smoothing it out at the bottom. And then you can see I've got a flap here that I'm just beating about. So I need to take the sponge, which I'm putting in some Mod Podge, which I've got down here in this palette, which is dripping everywhere. That's the thing with Mod Podge, it is not neat, so you're going to make a bit of a mess with it. So if you care about the surface you're working on, obviously make sure you've got that covered so that you don't ruin it. I mean, if I tilt this, you can see that my surface does not look great because it's been used while I've been doing artwork and while I've been doing these bottles, so it is absolutely covered in paint. But that just shows you that I've been active, I've been doing stuff. As well as making these bottles for wedding coming up later this year. So, oh my goodness, I mean, from when I was first on here, I was talking for about half an hour and I can already feel it in my throat, I'm telling you. Like, I am not used to talking for just like half an hour straight. So my voice cannot cope. I will survive somehow. Right, so you can see I've coated around most of the outside now. But what I will do is, I think, oh, there we go. I can see that there's bits here where you can actually see the label through it, which will be more obvious when there's a light in here. If I hook this light out of another bottle I've got there and push it down into this bottle. I mean, I tend to use the cork bottle lights, which look a bit better than this because this is just sort of hanging on the outside, which is not not the best effect, but there we go. You can see now I've got the light in there. You can see the remains of the bottle label that is still on there. So that is going to need an extra coat. It's just because when I was doing things earlier, I tried to pick the bits of bottle label off and they didn't want to come off, so I just left them. Got most of it off, that was the main thing. So I'm gonna get some more of my Mod Podge and coat this side of the bottle with it. I'm actually almost ripping through the napkin trying to do that because I think it's slightly wet. And put another layer on here. Yeah, I mean, it is good if you're trying to make something like a bottle light to actually put your light source inside while you're working so you can see how it's going to look when there's a light in it. Because there's obviously some things that are not going to show up so well and other things that will be kind of easier to see when there's a light in there. Especially when I get on to putting my main subject on here. As you will see a bit later when I get on to actually putting the creature I want on here, creature, animal, whatever. So yeah, I think you can still see. You can't see it so much because I've got this light on, but there we go. Now you can really see the black underneath all of this. So that's going to need quite a lot of coats in order to actually get rid of that. Might actually be a benefit to me to work with this light the way it is at the moment, just so I can actually see. Yeah, that's the problem with this, because it's getting a bit too wet. Unfortunately, it is rolling up and coming off, which is not really what I wanted. I probably should have allowed this to dry a bit more before fiddling with it, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to, it's like, I have to cover this up, and there you go. Sometimes trying to do things more quickly is not always the right way to go about it, but I'm going to try again. Try and try again. There we go. And hope this will look a little better. I need to rip some of the napkin from the bottom. You know what? I think I'm going to leave that for the minute, and I will rip it once it's actually dried properly, because otherwise I'm just tugging what I've already done off, which is not the main goal here. Right, so I'm going to carry on and add some more layers around here, and it will basically go to the top of the neck there, and then I will get some thread and wind it around so it will be a bit like one of these bottles. Turn the light back on now, I think. Where you can see me. It was all a bit dark before. It's much easier to see. Right, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some bleeding scissors and just get, God, these scissors are so rubbish. They're barely even sharp. They can't cut through a bleeding wet napkin. Oh dear. Okay, well that was pointless. Well, I won't say pointless. It has helped a little bit. As you can see, I've got rid of the excess I had hanging off the bottom there. Don't really want all of that. And kind of smooth it all down. Damn, I've lost the bottom. Oh, well, that's great, isn't it? Anyway, never mind. I will survive. Right. I'm going to need another napkin, I think. And here we go. That is the second napkin I've had to use on this. Yeah, I think we've got more than one there. Hopefully won't need a third. Apart from the one that I am actually looking to use to decorate this properly, of course. So, yeah, so we need more at the bottom here. See, that's much better. That's not coming off now, so I can just layer that on there. Give it a pat. Yeah, I mean, what I generally try to do, because obviously normally I'm not actually filming myself through this whole process, is line up the bottom of the napkin with the bottom of the bottle, so you don't get all of this stuff you have to rip off. But because I'm trying to hold it up and actually show you what I'm doing, it's not like flat down on the desk. I'd normally have it down here. It's obviously a little bit harder to do things properly. I'm going to put that down now and have a rest. Have a break, have a Kit Kat, and rip more of this to pieces. There we go. Oh. I wonder if you can say it's therapeutic ripping napkins to pieces. Yeah, I think I'm going to add another layer to this. I'm going to remove that. And right, let's put a bit more down there. Now I've lined it up with the bottom of the bottle. I can now pat it on. And then I can kind of, if there's anything that hasn't quite stuck, I can fold it down like that and then put the sponge underneath here so I can then stick it down. And then have to do the same for the edges. See, this is how I end up going through a lot of Mod Podge, because sponge absorbs quite a lot of it, and you do go through it a lot quicker than you think you will. I mean, I've got, how much have I got here? I've got 473 millilitres of Mod Podge here, and I am down to about there-ish. And I've done, well, yeah, I've done 5 bottles so far. This will be my 6th. So that gives you some idea of how long a bottle of Mod Podge will last you. As I mentioned before, it's good for sticking things down, and it's also good for doing a final layer on something if you want to protect it. So it's quite good for sticking down things like petals as well, which I've done on this one. I mean, I've tried a few different things on some of these different bottles. I mean, one I've got here, I've actually stuck bits of an old sock onto. Not what you'd think to use a sock for, but I really liked the design on that. It's like a pair of socks that my mum got for me. And she's kind of not around anymore, so it's just a nice thing to have on one of the bottles for the wedding. So there's like things that make me think of her around anyway, even if she can't be there. So yeah, and I'm hoping that the wedding will be able to go ahead as well this year. I mean, things have been looking pretty good in England with like the case numbers and everything, so with any luck it should all be fine, but it's also just one of these things, you never know, because people are not always careful, unfortunately, especially once we've been in lockdown for a long time. People go a bit nuts once the restrictions get lifted, but hopefully it will calm down and there won't be a drastic rise in numbers. That, I mean, people have been getting vaccinated, so with any luck that shouldn't happen, but we will see. Not really, apart from what we do individually, we've not got much control over these things, so you can only just see what will happen in the future, really. So oh, yeah, I can see I've still got a few kind of gaps here. Luckily, I've got some smallish bits that can kind of stick down there like that. Give it a pat. Pat, 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 pat. Yeah, I could use another bit there as well, really. And also some more up the top here, because that needs to be covered as well. Oh, just put it down, turn a little circuit so you can see how we're getting on there. Now I'm going to do, let's see, if I put this down a little bit, you can kind of still see what's going on. I'm going to do some coating on the top. Soak that all in. You can see the sponge kind of contains quite a lot of it, but what you have to be very careful of is to not let this stuff dry on your sponges. Do not do that, because if you do, I can show you exactly what happens to them. This poor unfortunate little sponge here is you get that happens. This is all dried, I can't get it off, and of course it means the sponge drips. So yeah, they're quite easy to clean as long as you get them before the Mod Podge has fully hardened and dried. Once it's dried, you've had it. I can still use that sponge, but it is falling apart, so I'm going to need a new one, really. And so we continue. Yeah, now I need more Mod Podge. More Podgy Mod. Or Moddy Podge. Don't ask me what a Moddy Podge is, I don't know. Right. Let's layer it down. And I've got some thin bits like this, so I can put those around the top. The thing that I've found when I've been doing videos is that sometimes I kind of get quite kind of involved in what I'm looking at. I just stare at it, and because I'm concentrating, I don't say much. So I've kind of had to put a stop to the video and do that part and then say something on another part. I mean, this is something I was a little bit worried about doing, something like a live stream, because I just feel like if you're not saying something or talking, that people are going to get a bit bored. But you've stuck with me so far, so well done. Through my rambling. There we go. Another bit going on there. I think I have got some Mod Podge at the bottom underneath this, but it doesn't want to stick down. Yeah, where some of this is still wet, it is ripping a little bit. I would say once it's dried, it kind of that adds to the texture, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just obviously because I'm working on a lot of this before it's had a chance to dry, because I have to keep working on it and doing something. So make sure I'm not just sitting here staring at a bottle waiting for bits to dry, because that's not much fun either for you or for me, to be honest. So just keep on keeping on. Yeah, that corner needs doing really as well. So I'm just seeing some areas where this is obviously ripped. Not ideal. Feels like I'm wrapping a parcel sometimes. It's like, oh God, what the hell? There's stuff everywhere. It's all of the bits that have come off of the bottle have gone on my jeans. It's just lovely. At least it's not a big glob of glue, because that's what I thought it was when I felt something drop onto my lap. So this does wash off, but still. There we go. Right, I think for the most part I can kind of let all of that stuff dry now. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the lights out of here, and I'm going to coat the neck of the bottle in Mod Podge. Just spin it round and round in circles and keep on coating it. There we go. Now I can get my lovely yellow thread. See, this is like Chinese knotting cord, I think it's called, that you can get off of Amazon. And basically I'm just going to move some of the other bottles out of my way. I've got so many bottles that I've done now that they're like taking up a lot of desk space. I have to find somewhere to put them, but I'm not sure where at the moment. So I'm just going to unspool that a little bit so I don't end up having to pull on it too much and pull it around. So I'm just using my thumb to hold down the thread at the base, and then taking the cord and just going around the bottle. It's actually quite helpful seeing in the camera how it's looking on the other side, because normally I can't see that, because what this tends to like doing is, well, you can see what it's done just there, is it kind of doesn't lay perfectly on top of the one you've just laid, so there's a gap in between the two, which is not a good look. I think maybe I could do with coating this a little bit more than I have done. Here we go. There we go. And then carrying on, going round and around and around. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I can push it down now because I can actually see, I can see what it's doing. As I say before, I was just turning it around and then noticing that there were big gaps in between the threads. Thankfully, I've got lots of yellow, so I'm not gonna go through it really quickly. I mean, I've almost gone through my reserves of the red and blue thread. Right, so yeah, I'm going to put a little bit more on here again, because obviously as I'm winding this around, the glue is going to be drying. I need to make sure it's still all wet enough for the thread to actually stick. I'm still holding down the end down here with my thumbnail just to make sure it stays put. Oh yeah, you can see what I'm talking about here with it trying its best to not behave. Oh God, now it's doing it this side. Bleeding thing. Right, okay, I think that's sorted it. Yeah, now I need more thread. Yes, it uses up surprising amounts of this. Just wrapping it round and round the neck of a bottle, you don't realise. And of course, I've run out of hands. Just kind of going around and around and around with my wrist. Okay, that should be enough, I think. I hope. Once again, this is dried out, so I need to put more on. I mean, on the other bottles I've used Copydex. I've only just started using Copydex quite recently, actually, because it was recommended to me as something that you could use to stick fabric. But I did find when I was using Copydex to stick all of this down that it was quite messy. It was leaving a lot of residue, especially sort of on the outsides of the threads that I had to try and pick off, which, and not all of it would come off, and it would look a bit just not that great, not very professional looking, I guess. but I think to stick the end of this down, I may well use copy decks anyway. And this is where I need this smaller sponge, which I can still use just about. There we go. Oh God, what is going on? There we go. Right. Yay. So I'm losing my voice, clearly. I was talking for half an hour earlier, and I've been talking for over half an hour now. So, aha. Right. Okay, I have got to the end of this. So now you can see it all looks quite nice. I think it does look better than when I had it before. Yeah, I don't think that end's going to have stuck down. So what I'm going to do is, if I can find... There we go. Yeah, I've still got the copy decks on here because I thought I would need it. There we go, copy decks. If I hold it the right way up. And also a pair of scissors is the other thing that I need at the moment. Where have the scissors gone? I don't know. I feel like I put things down and they run away. Oh, I covered up the pair of scissors with this. That's why I couldn't see them. Just my own silliness, really. And choppity, 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 chop. There we go. Let's cut the Chinese knotting cord. Now I need copy decks. Which I'm going to put like quite a bit of it on this bit here. And really it's actually not so much the glass it sticks to. I feel it's actually the thread underneath it tends to stick to. So I basically need to now hold it in place. So this is why I didn't want to do this as a beginning thing that I was doing, because now I have to sit here holding this bit of thread until it decides it wants to be stuck in place. So that's very entertaining content. Very, very entertaining. I mean, if you want to ask any questions or if you have any comments about what you've watched so far, you can feel free to put something in. If not, you can carry on watching me just hold this in place. That's fine too. So yeah, I had to think about what I was going to do for a video today. And I thought to myself, I don't have a lot of time to like sit and edit something. But what I can do is I can do what I would want to do anyway, which is making more of these bottles. But I can also like film what I'm doing at the same time as a live stream, so everybody can, or at least someone can watch what I'm doing, and it can be a video on the channel afterwards. So I'm scheduling this video to go up on Monday, so it's going to be like an extra video for the week. I might well do more of these actually as well, just to make it so that I am doing some content and I'm making some progress on art at the same time, and I don't have to spend ages trying to edit video clips. Honestly, I did not realise, watching other YouTubers, I should have realised how long it can take to edit video clips together and do voiceovers and that sort of thing. It does take a while, along with doing the thumbnails for the video as well. So yeah, I mean, these are the bottles I have done so far. You've got this one that's got a bee and a flower on it. She's all in this lovely shade of blue, which I quite like. You've got this one, which has got a squirrel on it and some petals, and also, again, a bee. If I put it closer, you can see it. And some flowers and some petals are on here as well, from flowers that are sitting on the windowsill. I just kind of noticed some petals laying there, and I just thought, well, why not? I'll stick some on and see how they look. And I'm fairly happy with them, and it looks like it will preserve them. It actually has deepened the petals' colour a little bit where it's had the Mod Podge on it. And there's this one, which is the first one that I did. But if I move this closer to the camera, you can kind of see it's actually not too bad on that one. I did manage to get most of it off, but if I, yeah, you can kind of see there's lots of little bits on it, which I didn't really like very much when I used all copy decks. So yeah, and you've got this one, the hair, and it's got gold Pearlex powder, and you can see that's another bit from the sock that's on there. And the leaves are also from socks. Actually, I think there's a bit of the sock still laying here that I didn't use. There we go. That's quite in keeping with our theme, so it's worked quite well. And then you've got foxes here, with this yellow on the top. And that was like another bit of the napkin had a baby or a fox cub on it, so I used that as the back. I mean, there's the one here that started all of this, me making these, is this one. And it's obviously not done in quite the same way as I'm doing mine at the moment. I think it's, looking at it when I've seen it, it looks like it's done using probably an actual transfer as opposed to like paper napkins like I'm using, which is why the image is so clean. So yeah, I think that bottle's been painted and then there's been a transfer put onto it, which has then been covered over with something like Mod Podge. It's not being done the way I'm doing all of these. So I wonder if I can let go of this now and it won't just fall off. Way! Oh, that makes my finger hurt. Right. Oh gosh, my back just clicked so many times just then. If I turn this around, you can see there's still a, oh good grief. I thought that was long enough. It apparently wasn't long enough, because look what we've got here. Yep, the thread hasn't stuck, which can and does happen with copy decks, rather annoyingly. So I'm gonna hold that there with my fingernails. I might try putting a bigger blob on. I'm leaving that blob there to see if it when that dries, if that will hold it. And I might try and do the bottom one at the same time. I'm being a bit ambitious here, but just want to make sure that this way. So now I'm just gluing my own fingers to the bottle as well. But yes, this is a good way of making your bottles more vibrant. You can wind sort of these coloured threads around them. You can also use something similar to what was used at the top of the bottle that I showed you that I bought, which is just like a sort of lacy ribbon that's been put around it. But you can see these have quite a nice shine, and as the colour themes for the wedding are going to be red, blue, yellow and white, this is kind of, I thought, was a good way of incorporating that colour scheme. I mean, I've been considering that maybe I should do a bottle that has something that's more white wrapped around the top of it. Was the only thing I was thinking. I may well do that, but I'll do it with the, like, I've got some ribbon, some Hessian ribbon for the cake. So I may cut that and try and use that on top of one of the bottles. I'm not sure. Either that or I'll buy something else to use to give me 2 more bottles with white wrapped around the tops, because then I think that would that would be all the bottles I'd want to do, because I mean this is 6 now, and if I do 2 more that will be 8, and I think that's enough. I need to move on now to doing some wood slices that are going to be on the table centers. So that is something else that I'll definitely be covering in my videos. I may well do some live streams of that as well. So of course, if you want to watch that, you're more than welcome to. And my fingers are getting stuck to this. As to whether the thread is actually getting stuck is another question. Nope, it's not, because when I just moved my finger, the thread came with it. Oh god, this is like such great entertainment, isn't it? Sitting here like holding thread for ages. Yeah, I think what I might do is, because this is not interesting to watch, is I may end the stream here, because I mean I've coated the bottle pretty much, so I'm going to be on to the next stage of things next time I come on, which is going to be putting some Pearlex powder onto this bottle, and I will show you how I do that, as well as choosing the image that I want to go on here. So yeah, stay tuned for part 3 of this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, or the rest of your evening, as it is now in England anyway. All right, goodbye everyone.